welcome to the next episode of Bisportuals, your new favorite sports podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm Kyle.
Thank you all for joining us on this lovely Valentine's Day, guys. This episode's going to be coming out on Valentine's Day.
And we all have partners to share it with.
Definitely.
Yes.
All three of us.
Mine is
Definitely.
Rob with the shifts.
Mine is Ant-Man.
You're his fourth baby mama?
I'm number 4.
Way to go. Mine is my work. I will be working the entire time.
Well, in honor of Bisportuals, I do think a little kiss to my fellow Bisportuals.
Kyle, that
Glad to
wasn't
be
for
here.
you. That was only for Ryan.
I took it. I'm taking all your credit.
Damn, you're gonna be taking just more than just my credit, baby girl.
Hallelujah.
You're going to tank my credit score?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is exactly
You're
what
gonna get a bunch of credit karma alerts from Experian and shit, and just being like, dude, you can't get a mortgage anymore. You're done. You had a good run. But in honor of this very beautiful and wonderful holiday, we are going to be doing some Valentine-themed blind rankings. We're going to start with some NFL blind rankings. I'm going to give you 5 different items. You are going to rank them in order from 1 to 5, but you're not going to know what the next one is before you rank them. Hence, blind rankings. This first one is of NFL couples. Famous NFL couples. These are players and their spouses or partners. So let's go ahead and hop right in. You two are working together. So this is your joint ranking on this, all right? You're not making
We're
your
a
own
couple.
rankings. You two are a couple here today.
Can I get a divorce?
Not yet. Not until the game's over.
Okay.
You didn't even give me a chance.
What do you mean? You never do the dishes?
Bisportuals.
That's not true. That is not true. You know it.
Bisportuals is not a no-fault divorce podcast. So if anything, you could try to get an annulment, but that's going to be tough to run by a priest.
But there is fault. He doesn't do the dishes.
Again, you know that's not true. I lived with you for 3 years.
All right, let's go ahead and hop in. Our first couple. Congrats to the soon-to-be newlyweds. Their first couple is Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld. Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld. Where are we putting them?
I think this is one of the upper echelon of NFL couples. I would be willing to put them around the 1 or the 2 spot. I would say 2 just to leave room. How do you feel?
I'm right there with you, bud.
Josh is very talented. Haley is very talented. Edge of 17, great movie.
Yeah, they both do some great things in their respective fields of work. And they're, I'm going to say it, power couple. But yeah, I kind of agree. I want to leave him at the 2 to start us off, just because I'm sure that Ryan has a trick up his sleeve for us.
Me? Little old me? Being deceitful and deceptive?
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
Yeah, you got me. Let's go ahead. So we're slotting in Josh and Haley at the 2.
Yes.
All right.
Shooting guard.
Our next pair. This was supposed to be their Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
You know, I'm going to say it. I think the media hates on him a little bit more than they should get credit for.
I completely agree.
I'm not a big fan of Travis' most recent comment on our current president. And we're going to leave it at that. But I think that they can work well together. They have, a lot of great showings in the public eye. So not that there's anything wrong with them. It's just like, I don't have to I guess I don't care as much about getting all the, posts about it or seeing them all the time together. I think they're cute. I think they work well together. I don't really mind, but I'm not like, oh my God, Travis and Taylor, oh my God. So I'm kind of sitting at a 3 here. 3, maybe 4.
Yeah. I agree with 3. I think Taylor is the most overhated musician out currently. She's got some great albums, 1989, Folklore, Evermore, fantastic pieces of work. She made Travis grow his hair out, which I personally like. Mm-hmm. And I think the conspiracy theories about them are fucking stupid. So, yeah, I'd be willing to put them at 3.
All right, we're slotting Travis and Kelce into the 3 spot.
Travis and Kelce.
Yeah.
Travis and Kelce. Yeah. Travis and Taylor into the 3 slot. We're going to go ahead and move on to our number 3 couple. This is Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson, and Sierra.
I'm feeling a light to decent 5 on this one.
I was kind of about to say that. Again,
They
not
are
for any
cringe on
particular
social
reason.
media. That's I have a reason they're cringe on social media.
Yeah. I
That
just
was
I'm
a
not a
quick
fan.
5.
Yeah.
Quick 5. Okay. Your list. Now I'm throwing at you Patrick and Brittany Mahomes.
Fuck.
Can we put him at like 18?
You might have sold.
No, we need to put him at 15. We need to put him at 15 because that's Patrick's number. That's what they're meant to be. Is number 15.
They're
We
meant
just
to be
won't have a
number
4.
15. I think we have to put them at 4.
Yeah,
There's no way they're number 1.
absolutely not.
One of them is a racist. One of them is a Muppet.
Yeah, it's a tough the way this list has fallen so far. So that leaves your number 1 spot.
Oh shit.
Your number 1 spot for the last couple. And I'm going to be honest, this is the funniest way this could have played out. Because I want to let you know that at number 1, you have Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen.
Hey, we were talking about a divorce. We were talking about a divorce already.
You know what? I think that is the number 1 couple because they had some kids that they had kids. And she said football or me, Tom, and Tom said football. So
And then Tom said the family or his own athletic trainer, and Giselle said your athletic trainer.
yeah,
No, I
you
thought it
know
was
what? I think there's
Wasn't it
a
not
lot of
the
love
karate?
going around.
I thought it was a
Is-
karate coach.
Oh yeah. But it was
something.
yeah. So that's
Again.
that's a tough list.
All right.
I'm going to shout out one more time here. Caleb Presley, Sunday Conversation with Tom Brady, electric.
It was
Just
so
absolutely
good.
fantastic.
That
so
was
that's
really good.
that's the only reason we can actually keep him at number 1 here.
Not a tough way to start our 3 blind rankings here. Here's an opportunity for you to get your get back. Okay. This second one, this is NFL couples again, but this is NFL meme couples. NFL not real couples, but these things do go together like peanut butter and jelly. So they might as well be couples. Are we ready
I'm
for
ready.
blind ranking number 2?
I think.
Born ready.
All right, let's hop right in. First up, we've got the classic, the one that sparked the idea. Give me Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. 1 through 5. Where are you putting them?
You played us with the last one when we went with number 2 to start off.
I still want to do 2 again.
I still want to do 2 because I feel like there's going to be
That
a
is
better
a-
option.
Electric couple. Triple crown, most yards in the league from a quarterback this year.
Aura Farmers.
So we're slotting them in at 2?
Yeah, we'll put him at the
Yeah.
shooting guard.
All right, starting off with 2 both times. Cautious way to play the game, not keeping your extremes in hand just in case. You never know what's coming up. Next up, we have Lamar Jackson and choking in big games.
Ooh.
Uh,
I mean, this year it was not Lamar's. It was a little bit Lamar's fault.
he didn't take the entire blame, you could say.
Yeah, but he did have a couple turnovers that were not great.
He didn't help his case by any means.
This is an iconic couple. The media has been talking about it for years. So
Consider again the longevity on this
the
couple.
longevity on this
Yeah.
couple, incredible.
Doesn't seem like they're Splitsville anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. They're in for the long haul.
Hate to follow in the same path as last time, but I also kind of want to put this at 3.
That's where I was thinking.
I can see an argument for 1 though.
Again, I'm worried now about our 1 seed, but I think that this is a safe play to go 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Got the 2 and the 3 locked down again. Very similar path.
We like our wings.
Next up, we got the white man special. Give me Kirk Cousins and his Coles Cash. His
Yeah, that's number 1.
Throwing it at 1. You don't think there's any better pairing? Any more
Iconic.
classic pairing?
Iconic.
All right. Kirk Cousins, the cowboy of Pizza Ranch, and his Coles Cash.
Just absolutely electric.
All right, top 3 spots locked up.
So we're looking at the 4 and the 5 here. And I think you've left some... This is going to be tough. I think you've left something on the board here. Number 4, Josh Allen, and specifically losing to Mahomes in the playoffs.
It is the most losses a quarterback has ever had to another quarterback in the playoffs.
I think that there's a very fitting answer here because it's been 4 times now in the playoffs that Josh has lost to Patrick. So I think 4 might not be a bad spot here.
Yeah, but I still think he can overcome that hump someday.
And in those games, think about in those games, how many
Josh has
times
been great.
It been Josh?
Josh has been great.
True.
So okay, thanks for your influence, Ryan. I say 5.
Okay, I can rock with 5.
Cool.
All right, slotting that in at 5, and finally, this is now in your number 4 spot. Your number 4 spot is Tyreek Hill and having unprotected sex with women who are not his wife.
Fuck. That should have been higher.
You guys let that one slip. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm glad that's not at 5 though. That is a great couple.
It's unfortunately not on my big board, so that's on me for letting that fall through the cracks of our scouting.
That's a scouting error. That's a scouting error right there.
Absolutely.
Mel Kiper would never let that happen. So your final order again: Kirk Cousins and Cole's Cash at 1, Joe and Jamar at 2, Lamar and choking like Reggie. No, why am I forgetting Pacer? Choke.
Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller. Then Tyreek and getting unrelated women pregnant, and Josh Allen losing to Mahomes at 5. I think it's a solid
That's
list
a
for the
lot
most
better
part.
than the first one. I feel like if we swapped around, maybe like if we moved Tyreek up to 2 and then dropped the other ones down, I think that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the only egregious thing to me is that Tyreek Hill at 4. That's got to move up.
Oh yeah, but like that.
But everything else, I like the order. I like the order. All right, finally, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get real specific. It's Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about blind ranking of Valentine's Day staples. All 5 of these items are classic. What you think of when you think of Valentine's Day. Okay?
Hit me.
So let's hop right in. We're hitting the big guns right away on this one. Number 1, give me chocolates. Chocolates.
Ooh. Okay. Can I specify? Are we talking milk chocolate? Are we talking dark chocolate? Are we talking all chocolate? Like
the variety packs.
We're talking specifically the
talking
variety
the
packs of chocolates
like the
that come in the
one?
heart-shaped ones. They'll come in the heart-shaped one.
Okay.
Personally, there are a lot of hit or miss chocolates for me. I'm not a big fan of anything with coconut. I'm not a huge dark chocolate fan, so I would be okay putting that at 4.
What? Hell no. Sorry. Fuck no. Absolutely not. That heart-shaped chocolate container is the main thing I look forward to in February, especially on February 15th when it's only like 80 cents.
And you get it from your mommy?
Like, fuck you. No way 4. I wanted to say 2, but I don't want to start 2 all 3 times. I can compromise here because this is what relationships are all about.
We'll meet in the middle.
We can settle at 3.
We'll be a fence sitters. I would like to save number 1 open for loneliness.
Number 3, it's a good baseline. It's a staple. It's a classic. Clearly, apparently controversial, which I had never thought of chocolates as controversial.
Well, there's just a few that aren't very good.
I'm with you on the coconut one. I'm with you on the coconut. Not a big coconut guy, but
missing out.
That's got to be outweighed by the presence of a sea salt caramel.
That's fair. Fuck, those are good.
Yeah.
But too late. You've locked him in at 3.
Got it. Yep. I'm cool with
Heading
that.
on. Next, we've got a bouquet of flowers.
I would like to put this at the 2. Flowers fucking rock.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you can make a lot of magic happen with some flowers. You know, it's a very a versatile player, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty to look at.
True. Just like you guys.
Aww.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Do you want to fucking fuck me?
God.
No.
Oh, okay.
Respectfully.
Because we're friends.
Cameron, I've known you for almost a decade. I don't want to have sex with you.
So you wouldn't have sex with your wife of almost a decade?
Do I have a wife of almost a decade? Is this the first I'm finding out about this? Fuck. Man, I've been a neglectful husband.
Surprise, buddy.
Shit. That explains all the alimony showing up at my door. All right, so we're putting bouquet at 2?
Yeah.
All right.
2.
Moving on, we've got a romantic dinner.
Toughie.
This is specifically not home cooked. This is going out. Going out
Going
for a
out.
romantic dinner.
I feel like going out is lower than home cooked, because if you can do a nice home cooked meal, that's special.
It's a little more meaningful. It's a little more, not sensual isn't the word I'm looking for, but it's the first one that kind of came to mind, where it's just like, it's a different environment. It's a lot more comfortable. It's a lot more just together.
See, and this is why I wanted chocolates at the 4. I feel like this would be a better 3 than chocolates.
I think that going out is a 4, especially in our day and age, in our economy. That's going to be a spendy date. And
well, yeah, but your
I don't want to spend anything
it.
on the love of my life, but you know, again, you got to be reasonable. You got to be reasonable. So that's where I think this is a solid 4.
Okay.
All right, going out for a romantic dinner at the 4. We've got candles.
I love candles. I love
1.
candles.
1. That's
Candles
a quick
are
1
so-
from Cam.
Candles are fire. Literally.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Those things are electric.
You've left yourself with the extremes here.
Yeah.
So it's either the 1 or the 5.
And I am way more comfortable putting this at the 1 than the 5. Candles
Agreed.
fucking rock.
Yeah.
All right, we're slotting candles in at the 1. And then, finally, Kyle, you mentioned it earlier, going to the store the day after Valentine's Day and buying a bunch of discounted chocolates.
I'm done.
Oh, no.
God.
You gotta see it coming at this point. We're 3 lists in.
Fuck you. That's all I gotta
I'm
say.
hitting
That's
you
all I
with
gotta
the
say.
curveball. I'm throwing the brain destroyer at the end every time.
I prefer candles.
I do, but
Yeah.
this could have gone so much higher on our list.
Slotting it in at the 5. Cheap
yeah.
chocolate at the 5. That's tough. But your list is your list. May not have been how I would have done it, but it's not my list. I want to congratulate. These are, except for that first one. That first one was rough. These the back 2 were pretty solid lists. Solid put-togethers. Just 1 or 2 slip-ups here or there. So I'll give you your applause on that. That's tough. It's tough to do a blind ranking.
Thank you.
I
I
think-
trained long and hard.
I think Flowers really is an underrated pickup. I think at the 2. But you know who's not going to be getting any flowers?
Oh,
The Kansas City Chiefs offensive line.
That's cruel.
That's right. We're hopping right back in. It was the Super Bowl this weekend. And boy, the Chiefs got walloped. 40-22 being the final score. And it was not that close. 40-22 makes it seem way closer than it was. This was a blowout. The Chiefs went into halftime down
27.
27-0.
Yeah. And they
8
didn't.
of those Chiefs points came after the Gatorade was already poured on Nick Sirianni.
Yes.
Mhm.
And if you remember the iconic 28-3 comeback from Tom Brady, at the exact same time in this game, the score was 34-0. And Pat was only able to put up 22. So
Yeah.
there's some comparisons that we can make there in a little bit.
But I don't think any of us saw it happening like this. So I
No.
want to start. I want to start with
Especially
Cameron.
you.
Yeah, I was quite wrong, and I'll be eating my words on that in a minute here. But Cameron, I want to start with you. What'd you think about the game? And also, we'll talk about it in a little bit as well. But what a halftime show!
Ooh,
One of the best I've
Gorgeous.
seen in a while. A beautiful.
Beautiful.
But Cameron, what'd you think of the game? What'd you think of the performance from both sides?
I think people are giving Patrick Mahomes too much credit and the offensive line too little credit. That was statistically one of the worst games he has ever had from a passing perspective, from a rushing perspective. What do you mean? Why are you looking at me like that?
He was the leading rusher on the team.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it was a good performance.
It means it
couldn't
was
do
better than the
anything.
rest of his run game.
Okay, yeah, well, fucking.
Yeah, go with your take. I
You've
want to
got-
let you. I want to let you finish. I want to let you finish.
Okay, Kanye. Sacks are
don't say
a
his name.
quarterback stat. Sacks are a quarterback stat. Saw that in the Vikings versus Rams game. Poor offensive line play, sure. But the Eagles defense was there, and Patrick Mahomes was not able to avoid them. He was not able to throw the ball away. He was not able to scramble. And his his passing efficiency was so bad. He missed a couple pretty good looks. I know there were a couple drops from his receivers, specifically DeAndre Hopkins that one time. That was a horrible drop. But this was just pure dominance by the Eagles defense. They I don't think they blitzed at all, and there was still so much pressure on Patrick Mahomes. It's crazy. Cooper DeJean, Zach Bond, you got the two white boys with their interceptions. Mahomes, he basically gifted the Eagles 14 points. Like, as a, hey, congrats, you got here. You're going to stay here. Like, Mahomes was just absolutely atrocious. I want to give a lot of credit to Jalen Hurts. He had an incredible game. I thought if the Eagles won, it would mostly be on the back of Saquon Barkley, but it was mostly on the back of that passing offense. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, both incredible, had some great touchdowns. But this Eagles defense really is the MVP of the game, the defensive squad as a whole. Jalen Hurts did deserve Finals MVP, but Cooper DeJean, holy shit. White cornerback, rookie, on your birthday, pick six against a GOAT candidate. Like, that's crazy. I don't think the GOAT debate is over at all. Patrick Mahomes is only 29. Some people are saying, oh, this was terrible. Yeah, it was a bad game. It was a horrible game for Patrick Mahomes. GOAT debate nowhere near over.
All right, Kyle, I want to let you go before I lose it.
Yeah.
So,
The main thing I wanted to address before I even attempt to pick apart Cameron's bullshit argument
Fuck you mean by Gunna.
was like I said it last week that the Eagles needed to play a perfect game to win this game. And if that was not a perfect game, I don't know what is. Like everything that the Eagles did was working. They were clicking all across the board. I think Saquon maybe had like a quiet game, but he was still electric. It was just like every facet of that team did exactly what they needed to do, which is what I said, and I want to relish in that. Cameron, you literally alluded to it. The Eagles did not blitz at all in that game, and they sacked Pat Mahomes 5 times. So that is not Pat Mahomes' fault. That is his revolving door of an O-line's fault. Because
he can
they
still
could not
throw it away.
Yes, he could. But if his O-line can't stop a feather from hitting him in the face, how do you expect him to get the ball out that quick? Like it was just every
that's a lot
play
faster.
was blown up.
You just do that.
I know. I'm aware.
you don't make in the NFL. You don't. I'm gonna hold it in until Kyle finishes his take, because this.
Like Pat Mahomes has some responsibility here, absolutely. But we can't just fully pin it on him and ignore the fact that the O-line did nothing to help him. That Eagles D-line has been great all year, and that Chiefs O-line has been pretty dang good all year. So there should have been more competition on the line, forcing Vic Fangio of the Eagles to change the scheme up and say, hey, our no blitz strategy isn't working. We need the blitz. That should have happened, because that Chiefs O-line should have held up. And they didn't. They were able to run their better scheme with only a 4-man rush and get to Pat Mahomes more often than not. The fact that it just seemed like that whole O-line choked in the big moments. There were other key plays like that DeAndre Hopkins drop. There were some maybe questionable no calls against the Eagles defense for maybe roughing the passer. And I think that maybe rattled them a little bit. Yeah. I also saw the one clip where Pat Mahomes was kind of diving down and he maybe slammed his head a little hard. There's an opportunity there that maybe maybe a concussion and he's like, I'm not going the fuck out. Something like that. There's plenty of different points.
Players don't get a choice if they go out if there's concussion scare.
Pat Mahomes does because he's Patrick Mahomes. But at the end of the day, like it's not just on Pat Mahomes. It was on his team because again, this is a team game. So I hated the QB stat there.
I'm still saying that he was fucking atrocious.
Yeah, The way that you initially worded that seemed like you wanted to take the blame away from the O-line.
No, the O-line definitely deserves blame, but I don't think they're the sole reason the Chiefs' offense was so bad. Patrick Mahomes was terrible as well.
Okay. I still don't like it. And I want Ryan to talk because I will just keep going back and forth with you for the next 30 minutes.
So, when it comes to these big games and these big instances, and we're trying to dissect a loss here, right? I always find a nice analogy to be the blame pie. Blame is a pie, and there are slices to go around for everybody. Andy Reid, you get a little slice. Minimal offensive adjustment within that first half. Clearly it wasn't working, and you refused to try to establish a run game. I believe the first 9 plays were all pass plays from that Kansas City offense. So there's a little bit of a blame. There's a slice for Andy Reid. Travis Kelce, you get a slice. You disappeared in that game. Unable to find the zones, unable to make effort plays when effort plays were needed. I don't know if you saw the clip. There's a clip that's going around. If you remember in that first half, there was one play where Mahomes was trying to make a miracle scramble on like a 3rd and 3, I think. And you can just see Kelce on the bottom side of the screen just walking leisurely.
Yeah, no.
So there's a little bit of an effort play there. Just it's also he probably thought he was out of the play and Patrick wasn't going to come back to the middle, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but Andy Reid still also put Kelce on like the wide side of the field every time where he could get covered by Cooper DeJean, and Cooper DeJean is just faster.
Yeah, but Travis Kelce is bigger.
Yeah, but Cooper
so
DeJean
you should be able. You should be able.
Gym rat.
They both play the game the right way.
That's fair.
But there are 2 slices here that should make up a majority of the pie. I would say, and we agree on what they are. It is Patrick Mahomes and his offensive line. I think the offensive line, and you could talk about the defense a little bit as well. They're actually probably up there in a slice.
The secondary got cooked.
I was going to say they shut down Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley did not. His first half, he was averaging. Remember last week we talked. He had a 5.8 yard per carry average in the regular season. He was averaging under 3 yards a carry in that first half. The Chiefs D line, their front 7 did their job when on run defense. They were gap sound. It was very good. They couldn't get pressure to Jalen Hurts, and their DBs got cooked. Trent McDuffie got bodied by A.J. Brown, and I can't remember who's on the other side, got cooked on that go route by Devontae Smith. But at the end of the day, it's Patrick Mahomes, because you are the quarterback, and it's the O-line. You have 5 guys. You were not able to block 4 rushers for, I'd say, 50% of pass dropbacks, 60% of pass dropbacks. I don't remember I believe in the first half, he had almost a 50% pressure rate, at least, on his dropbacks in the first half. That is unconscionable. That's awful. And I agree, there are some plays where sometimes the correct answer is put it in the dirt, throw it away, send it into the second row. But you have to realize you're in the Super Bowl, and you do not become Patrick Mahomes by putting it in the dirt. Patrick Mahomes has been able to make plays before, and he believed he can make plays again. But when he made plays before, he had at least passable offensive line play. This offensive line play from the Super Bowl with the Chiefs was worse than anything we saw from the Vikings in Week 18 or against the Rams. Significantly, by far. That was some of the worst offensive line play I have seen all season. That was awful. No quarterback can operate under that. Any moment, usually when there's a 4-man pass rush, some kind of escape lane opens up. You can either step up into the pocket if the two D tackles try to rush around the center, or usually a gap opens up out the side. No gaps, because what happened was they weren't getting beat by speed moves on the outside. They were getting bull rushed every time, and they just got pushed back into Patrick Mahomes on that Cooper DeJean interception, on that Cooper DeJean pick six, if you watch it back, Patrick Mahomes gets hit by his own lineman being pushed into him by Brandon Graham. He is off balance because Joe Tooney got thrown into him. I can't put that on Patrick Mahomes. Was it an underthrown ball? Yeah. Because his lineman was on top of him. The sacks are a quarterback stat is right sometimes, but you have to look at the pass protection, how much time he had in the pocket before pressure got to him. Sam Darnold sacks are a quarterback stat because most of the time he was taking those sacks. They were 4 or 5 seconds in. He was still in the pocket, and the pocket held for a lot of that time. Patrick Mahomes had to get off his spot within 2 seconds almost every time. There were very few times where Patrick Mahomes could drop back and have a clean pocket to throw. And when he did, either he made the throws, like that bomb in the second quarter or in the second half. That was a great throw. He had time. Or he made a little bit subpar throws that then got dropped. Kelsey had a bad drop in the first half. That D-Hop drop, I know we talked about it. This all to say, does Patrick Mahomes deserve blame? Yes. Should it be anywhere near proportional to the roasting that this offensive line got? Not at all. It is of the blame pie, I am giving at least half of the whole fucking pie to that offensive line. It was, they would have lost to the Texas Longhorns D-line with that offensive line play. It was abysmal. I'm getting off of my soapbox now.
Yeah, but if you divide that half of the pie into 5 for the 5 offensive linemen, I would still give 30% to Patrick Mahomes, which gives him the biggest slice.
I'd give a smaller slice to Creed Humphrey because he was kind of trying, but
I was gonna say, I was trying to find a stat the entire time you were talking, and it's a key stat to help kind of defend the Chiefs' defense here, and it's time of possession. The Eagles held the ball for 37 minutes, while the Chiefs only had the ball for 23 minutes. So that's 37 minutes that the defense has to be on the field against A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, and that absolute monstrosity of an O-line. It's tough for the Chiefs to fight against that for 37 minutes on defense. So with your 23 minutes of offense, you need to make something happen. And that only happens when your O-line can actually do this. They put their 2 hands up and they stop the guy in front of them. They didn't do that at all.
37 to 23 is like less than I thought it was. I thought that
the
Eagles
first
were out there for longer than that.
The
first half was not balanced.
No,
it was, yeah, because
I think
for
it was
the Chiefs
20 to
it went
10.
like, yeah, not even the Chiefs went. If you remember, they got 1 first down on their first drive. Then it was 3 and out, pick, and I can't remember what their next possession, if they had another possession.
14 yards in the first half.
Yeah, it was
bad. It was bad. So, enough talking about the game. We can't do anything about the game anymore. Game's over. Congrats to the Eagles. You proved me wrong. Turns out that defensive line was all that in a bag of chips. I was wrong. Sue me. I'm here to have takes. No, you can't. You can't do it. But
dialing my lawyer right now.
This opens us up to a whole new NFL season next year. So going forward, what do you think the future looks like for the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles? Kyle, I'll throw this to you first.
I don't know all their contract situations or like some of those key free agents that they would maybe want to bring back, but Howie Roseman had a masterclass last year with bringing guys in. And granted, most of that was headlined by Saquon Barkley. But I think as long as they can either lock down some of their key free agents or bring in some quality talent to replace, they're going to be right back there. Like Saquon Barkley is in the prime of his career. Jalen Hurts is in the prime of his career. A.J. Brown is in the prime of his career. Your O-line is rocking it. Your defense is young, and they are scrappy, and they are playing the game the right way. Just in general, like their defense is good. Their offense is good. Their special teams is consistent, which is a hard thing to ask for in the NFL. So I think as long as they, again, tighten the ship up a little bit, again, if one guy walks, you bring it, it's next man up. I don't see why they wouldn't be back next year, other than the Vikings being there instead of them, because we're just going to be that much better.
True.
Yes.
True.
I think both these teams have great odds to make it back here next year, especially the Eagles. That was incredible. I'm trying to find their key free agents, I believe.
Zach Vaughn
Zach
is a
Vaughn,
free agent.
Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Brandon Graham, Mekhi Becton.
Oh,
Those are all
big
pretty
one.
good names.
I would say those are big names in the trenches.
Yeah.
Brandon Graham and Devondre or DeAndre. Couldn't remember.
That was
Sweat.
I don't know.
19. Yeah. I know it's 19. He's an edge rusher. He made a couple plays in that game.
Yeah, those are all pretty key guys, but I also do look at the Eagles as having fantastic young pieces. You have Quinyon Mitchell, who tied for Defensive Player of the Year. You've got Cooper DeJean, obviously big game for him. You've got Jalen Carter, who's been great for them. They have a lot of young pieces on that defense, so I don't think they need to be too worried about bringing back all their free agents. I think if you can take a couple swings on some guys, you have those reliable pieces still in place. Their offense isn't going anywhere. All their pieces, they're big names at least in terms of their weapons. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, none of those guys are going anywhere. There's definitely a lot to look forward to going into next season. It's not one of those teams like the Bengals who made it to the Super Bowl one year and then just lost so many key free agents the next year. There's definitely a chance for them to make it back next year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
This is also a really nice draft class for the Eagles, this upcoming draft class, because what it lacks for in elite first-round quarterbacks and deep wide receiver talent, there's a couple of high-end guys. You look at Tet McMillan, that dude's a freak. Have you seen some of Travis Hunter? He's probably going to come in and play cornerback, to be fair.
He's not going to get no snaps at receiver.
He'll be a gadget guy. He'll be a gadget receiver. But have you seen the Teteroa McMillan highlights?
Nope.
That dude makes crazy catches. He is a contested catch guy. He's big. He's lanky. He's not as built as AJ Brown, but size-wise, he can go up there and get a ball. But that's not what the Eagles need. And this class is good on the lines and in the less glamorous backfield positions. You're looking at your linebackers. You're looking at your interior defensive linemen, your edge players, and there's a lot of good outside line, sort of tackle and maybe swing guard players coming out of this class, which is, I think, where the Eagles are going to have to look. Because like you said, they're losing a couple of good defensive line players. I don't know if they'll be able to afford Zach Bond because they're paying him in potato chips and a firm handshake right now.
Yeah.
And he's earned himself a real NFL contract. So I don't know if they'll even want to pay him or if he's going to be too expensive for their price range. But Howie Roseman's proven one thing, and that's that he can go find and get guys. So it looks bright for the Eagles' future. But a team that might be losing some of their guys, there's talk about whether Travis is even going to come back next year. Chris Jones.
I think if he retires, I don't see any world where he retires.
Chris Jones is just getting older, and his age started to show a little bit in that game. He's been dominant most of the playoffs, but he did not have a Chris Jones game that game. This wide receiver core is still a big question for Kansas City. Have to add to that now their O-line. The last time their O-line lost them a Super Bowl was against Tom Brady and the Bucs, and they went out and they rebuilt the whole damn thing. So the question becomes, will they do that again? Again, there's opportunities in the draft for that. There's a lot of good running backs in this draft class as well. You've got your first round talent like Ashton Genty, but there's also, I've come up big on him. Cam Scatterbo looks like a dog. Mm-hmm. The Arizona State running back looks like a dog. But
Cam Scat and Poo? What? I've never heard of this guy.
You,
You'll have to learn the name because he's
I
a
hate
very
you sometimes.
scrappy, high IQ guy.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
First one
Yep.
in, last one out. Real gym rat.
All right, I have a good idea of who this guy is now.
But Cameron, this Chiefs team, you said earlier you could see them coming back to this game next year. You're still high on them?
I'm still high on them because they're the fucking Chiefs. They've got the best coaching squad in the NFL. Even though Patrick Mahomes had a down year and especially a down game, he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's been completely dominant ever since he came in, not as a rookie because I don't know if he played at all in his rookie season.
Played one game at the end of
Yeah.
his rookie season.
But I am really scared about all of these free agents for the Chiefs. They're losing DJ Humphries and Trey Smith on the offensive line. They're losing basically every offensive weapon that isn't named Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, or Isaiah Pacheco.
Is he really a weapon at this point?
No,
more of a
he has one leg,
yeah.
but he's still considered a weapon in terms of the position he plays. They've got a lot of work to do in free agency, but they've shown that they can do that work. People want to play for them. People want to play with Patrick Mahomes. And they've done like a really good job picking up free agents within the season too. Looking at Kareem Punt, he was just a complete free agent when they picked him up, and he was really good for them, barring this last game, at least in terms of free agent talent. They have a lot of work to do, but again, it's the Chiefs. Can't really have any doubt when it comes to how they're going to rebuild and restructure and retool and get there the next year.
Yeah. Kyle, are you feeling equally optimistic about this Chiefs team?
Bits and pieces, probably not equally. I'm definitely a little bit less optimistic about the Chiefs. The main concern that I have, and I have no basis for it, again, Andy Reid. I mean, we're talking about this coaching system and this coaching team. I think he'll be back next year, but we also have to think about age. You know, we were talking about, again, Chris Jones is getting older. Travis Kelce is getting older. Andy Reid is getting older too.
Pete Carroll just signed a contract.
Yeah, I
That
know.
man's 73. Andy Reid could coach till he's 102.
Yes.
Yeah. But physically they may be able to do it, but mentally, there's a chance that the game kind of regresses there. So even if he can do it, can he do it at a high level? So that's kind of where my head starts, the wheels start to turn a little bit, is can he keep doing what he has done for a long time? Because, we talk about it all the time, Father Time always wins. I don't think that this is the start of that necessarily, because again, the regular season, they were 15-1. They made it to the Super Bowl in what was considered a down year. So there's absolutely no way that Andy Reid leaves the Super Bowl without thinking, man, I got to get better and come up with new schemes, find a new way to run this team back to the Super Bowl. So I'm not necessarily concerned. It's just something to at least consider. In terms of free agents, they're losing a lot of key guys, but who in the NFL doesn't want to go play with Pat Mahomes?
Exactly.
Or who doesn't want to play under Andy Reid? So they're not going to have a hard time recruiting by any means. Obviously, the contracts and the money side of it is probably where it's going to get tough. But I definitely see them picking up the right guys, finding a way to make this unit gel together and get right back there. So I'm still, optimistic about them, but obviously I just have a few more worries.
Can we agree that a big piece for the Chiefs next year is less commercials?
Yeah.
To do less commercials. I feel like that was kind of a...
Yeah,
Andy
I don't
Reid got
wanna
stuck in a Bundle Ruski hellhole.
I say I don't want to see that Bundle Rooski ad ever again.
Yeah.
State Farm needs to find a new red team to partner with.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Jaden Daniels, the
Cavs.
commies. Oh,
The
true,
Cavs.
The Cavs as well. Yeah, Chiefs. I never doubt the fact that they will get back. My question just becomes how. It's the same question I had after Tom Brady took him to the fucking woodshed. How are they going to fix that offensive line? How are they going to address the lack of depth, quality depth at the skill positions? I don't know.
Yeah, we're
They'll
not
do it
the
again.
GM.
Unless it's finally Josh Allen's year.
Oh boy, guys.
It's been Josh Allen's year for the past 3 years.
Yay.
Talk about DEI. That's a DEI MVP.
Fuck no.
Fuck no, he earned it. He worked hard for it. He was in the gym.
He was
First one
first
in,
one in,
last
last
one
one out.
Okay.
You know what? If Haley Steinfeld was my daughter, I'd be okay with him dating
I'd
her.
let him date her.
Yeah.
Do what you want.
Talking about the NFL, free agency, there's always big signings in the NFL, and there's always one or two that's like, who are you again? I kind of forgot. Maybe they were out of the league for a year, or maybe they were playing practice squad on another team, but we've still got a while until those signings start happening for the NFL. However, the NBA's got plenty of folks that make you ask yourself, "Wait, who are you again? Who are you?" Yeah, Cameron, did you have a question?
Yeah, is this the MNBA or WNBA?
This is the NBA. I believe it's like the WNBA, except all dudes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's hot.
Unsure.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to test my fellow compatriots' knowledge of who exactly is that guy? Didn't he play for that one team? Doesn't he play for that one team in the West or in the East or something? So this is a classic NBA game. The one, the only. Who he play for? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give you the name of an active player, an active basketball player, and I want you to give me the team that they currently play for. All of these players currently play for this team. Okay?
Are we
This is
against each
competitive.
other?
This is
Okay, are we doing
competitive.
it in turns or just shouting it out?
No, it's going to be it's going to be shout out. I'll give you, if you both get it wrong, I'll give you both a couple extra guesses if you want, but this is going to be pretty straight up. First one. Your first player is Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond,
Drummond.
currently plays for the Sixers, I believe.
Kyle, who do you think he plays for?
I thought he played for the Nets.
Andre Drummond currently suits up for the Philadelphia 76ers. Andre Drummond is a Sixer currently.
Yeah, they signed him after Embiid's first injury.
Yeah, I believe he's played 28 games this year. He slotted in when Embiid was out. But I believe he gets less minutes now that Embiid's back for sure. Now, talk about less minutes. This guy's been playing less minutes, but actually I think he's been playing a similar amount of minutes, but for a different team.
Okay, so it's not the Sixers.
We've got the one, the only, Simone Fontecchio.
Is he still a Piston?
Kyle?
I'm going to be 100% honest. Who?
Simone Fontecchio.
What do you mean? Utah Jazz to Detroit Pistons to I think Pistons still?
That sounds like an Orlando Magic G League player to me.
So is your guess a two? I forgot
Yeah, I
to
know.
tell you. None of these players are two-way contract players or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I'll just say the Orlando Magic because I no idea who this is.
He is still a Detroit Piston.
Okay, cool.
Simone Fontecchio. He's getting minutes. He's getting minutes out there
He's
in
got
Detroit.
a fire last name, but
Yeah, he's Italian.
Yeah, he was traded to the Pistons last year's trade deadline from the Jazz.
All right. You will definitely know this name. If you don't know this name, I'd be disappointed in you as an NBA fan. This one is Bismack Biyombo.
oh,
Fuck, I know he just got picked up somewhere.
Is he on the Utah Jazz?
Cameron?
I know he's in the West.
One of the goated names.
No, he's not on the Suns, but I'm gonna say the Suns. He used to play for them. I know he recently got picked up.
Kyle, who did you guess again?
The Jazz.
He is not a member. He is not a jizzer. He's not a jizzer. And he is not on the Suns.
Yeah,
If you both want to throw out another guess, I'll let you go.
Is he a
Cameron
Portland
is right though. He
Trailblazer?
did get Portland. He did get picked up recently.
I don't like how you swayed that answer after I said it. He's
Well,
probably
because I
not
was
a
in the
Portland
middle of saying
Trailblazer.
the middle of saying that before you said your answer, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
Cameron?
I think
you got a second guess.
Fuck Denver. I don't know.
Denver. Good guess. Neither of those are correct, unfortunately. He is a San Antonio Spur.
Oh, okay. He's Wemby's backup.
He got picked up on a 10-day 2 days ago.
Yeah, I was listening to someone talk about the free agents available for the Lakers to pick up as a big man, and I mean they got Alex Len today as of day of recording.
All right. This is the one name I think you might not know, but it's too good of a name. This is the one, the only Oscar Tshiebwe. Oscar Tshiebwe.
It sounds familiar.
Would you like me to spell it out for you? I can
No,
do that.
that won't help.
I'm gonna go Brooklyn Nets. I know they've been playing a bunch of nobodies.
Brooklyn. That's a guess.
I don't know why. I feel like he's a Hornet.
A Hornet. Okay. He is neither of those teams.
Okay.
Are we in the right conference?
I believe, I forget what conference this team is on. That shows you how much
boy.
I pay attention to this team.
Oh boy.
Hold up. Let me check. Let me double check.
New Orleans then.
All right, that's a guess.
That's probably not that far off.
This team is in the West.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, New Orleans.
I'm gonna say Memphis, just to be different.
Oscar Tshiebwe is a jizzer. He is a member of the Utah Jazz.
How did you forget that Utah is in the West?
Because I don't pay attention to the Jazz.
Have you looked at a map?
We're the
Let's be
divider.
clear. When it comes to sports divisions and conferences, geography is not that good of an indicator in all
It
honesty.
is in the NBA, other than Memphis.
Yeah, like purely
The fact that you have to say other than
one team.
indictment.
Otherwise,
it
it's
is the
basically
exception.
straight
It is the
down.
nope. Okay,
whatever.
so last, I'm running this game, not you. Last name. We do have a bonus name as well, but last name here. I'll give you a hint. Former Memphis fan favorite, Kenny Lofton Jr.
Ooh.
Where is Kenneth Lofton Jr.? I want you guys to write it down for this one. Write your answer down for this.
I think I remember I'm gonna write down the last spot I remember him in. I feel like they dropped him, but I'm still gonna guess it because last place I remember him.
I know he bounced around a couple of G League teams for a minute. I'm trying to remember which one he actually like stuck on. But I think I got my answer.
All right. Here, let me go ahead and get this ready real quick.
If he wasn't on this team, then I'm probably just delusional. But I feel like he was on this team.
All right. Go ahead and show your answers in 3, 2, 1. All right, we got Chicago from Cam.
You won't be able to see it, but it's the Los Angeles Clippers.
Clippers. Chicago Bulls and the LA Clippers. He is neither of those teams. Would you like to see what team he plays on currently?
Yes.
Is he a Laker?
He is
He is?
a Shanghai Shark.
Oh,
He is a member of the Shanghai Sharks. Ni hao, shi hao.
okay. I totally remember that happening now.
Yeah.
But am I crazy that he played in Chicago? I definitely.
I don't
I
remember
think he
Chicago.
did. I don't remember.
I could be wrong.
I don't recall. However, currently, Cam is up 2-0, but this last one is worth 2 points because it's a bonus one and it's tougher. I need you to give me the name of the team that Patrick Beverly plays for.
Oh, I know the city. I know the fucking city. My God. What?
Are we writing this one down again?
Yeah, write this one down.
Oh, fuck.
I will
know
not just take
I don't
the
know what
location.
the mascot is. I don't know what the fucking like actual team is. I know where he is. I know their colors. I know it's red and white.
I'm not looking for the mascot. I'm looking for the team name, which is different from the mascot.
Like, okay, I think I know it. Or I think I have
All
it.
right. Cam, you got an answer down?
I said Jerusalem, BC, like sort of like basketball
it's-
club.
It's something like Hilal. I know it's Tel Aviv, but it's like Hilal Tel Aviv or something like that. I don't know how to spell it.
I'm going to give... Cameron. So I can tell you Cameron is wrong. Cameron is wrong. It is not Jerusalem. Jerusalem does not have a basketball team. That is a UNESCO sacred site. There's no basketball team there. I'm very tempted to give it to Kyle because it is the Hilob Tel Aviv basketball club.
Oh
So
my
I got
God.
basketball club right.
Cameron got the basketball club. Kyle, I'm gonna give you 1 point because you got Hilob Tel Aviv.
You're gonna
But
give me
they're-
half a point for basketball club.
They are the basketball club.
That's why I couldn't remember their mascot because they don't fucking have one.
The Tel Aviv Basketball Club is possibly one of my favorite names of all time.
Yeah, that it's just an
They were
iconic
busy
one
spending.
for Pat
They were
Bev.
busy spending all of that money on occupation, so they couldn't come up with a better basketball name. So
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's just like soccer in Europe.
yeah, but that has class. So Patrick Beverley, I can't stand him. You can't stand him. None of us can stand him. We could stand him when he was a Timberwolf because he
we
was on
loved
our
him
team.
for a year and a
He's one-
half.
He was electric in Minnesota, and he was great when he was on the Lakers and he had the camera. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was funny.
He's one of those. He's one of those guys that you love him when he's on your team, but
Yeah.
you hate him when he's on the other team. Team.
Except now, if he came back to the Wolves, I would still hate him.
Yeah, but a lot of guys are on other teams now, and we don't hate them. So let's talk about them because we don't hate them.
Mhm.
The NBA trade deadline has officially passed. We talked last week in our last episode about some of the big trades that had gone down. Specifically, we talked about the Luka AD deal, and we talked about De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. Since then, the deadline has officially come and gone, and there are a couple more moves that we feel that we need to talk about here. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to go through a couple of them. We'll spend more time on some that we believe are more significant than others. Some we'll just comment on. But we're going to go ahead and start. Brandon Ingram, who we talked about earlier in the show when we did our NBA start bench cut about 3 episodes ago, I believe. Brandon Ingram is now a Raptor. He's up there with Drake in Toronto. I wonder if Drake will introduce his hidey hole that he is currently staying in, since the entire world is calling him a pedophile on national television
He's on
once
tour
again.
in Australia. He's on the Anita Max Win tour. Some Sexy Songs for You featuring Party Next Door out today if you're watching this.
But
Just ridiculous.
talking about Brandon Ingram, he is a Toronto Raptor. So Cameron, I want to go ahead and toss this to you first. Give me your take on the deal. Who do you think won here, and what kind of fit do you think this is for Brandon Ingram?
Okay, so the Kelly Olynyk to New Orleans trade, I think this was pretty significant. New Orleans is definitely...
Look,
Can't with you.
No.
my guy.
Brandon Ingram has previously said he wanted to play in Toronto. He came to Toronto and he just signed a 3-year, $120 million extension. That is good money for him to stay around. Originally, I'm like, what are you doing here, Toronto? They gave up Bruce Brown, quality role player. His contract might be a little too big to have too much trade value individually as a piece, but he has been the centerpiece for 2 all-star trades now. But they also gave away the Pacers 2026 first round pick, and I don't think Toronto is going to be a playoff team in 2026 necessarily. That's only like a year, and that draft is only a year and change away. So yeah, Toronto still has a lot of work to do in building the roster. Obviously, Scotty Barnes is a good piece. RJ Barrett has been good for them since he came up in the OG Anunoby trade. Same with Emmanuel Quickley. He's also been really good for them. Grady Dick has his moments, and I think Brandon Ingram is going to fit in pretty well here. He's still a quality player. But I don't see why you're trading for a guy who is a competitive player who wants to compete when you're this mediocre of a team. I don't really think the future is very bright in Toronto, especially compared to some of the other younger teams like San Antonio, Memphis, San Antonio, Memphis, Houston. It didn't really make sense to me at the time. As of today, the trade deadline was almost a week ago. Brandon Ingram is not suiting up for them tonight. I was so confused by this. I like that they got him under contract for the next few years, so they're going to have him locked down and they can trade him off in the future eventually. I believe he's going to be 32 or 33 by the time that contract ends, which is a little scary because, again, I don't think Toronto is in a place to be competitive at that time. I'm just really confused. New Orleans, I feel like you definitely could have gotten more for Brandon Ingram. You've got Bruce Brown, who I believe is going to be a free agent after the end of the season. definitely going to be on a smaller contract. You've got Kelly Olynyk, real first one in, last one out kind of guy. Saw a game at his college, Gonzaga, last week. Yeah, I don't know if I really like this trade for either side. This is like one of the trades I felt was like a lose-lose. I don't see what this does for either team. I don't think. Yeah, I
It
don't
doesn't.
know.
It doesn't make the Pelicans better.
No, but they're not trying to be better
They're
this
not
year.
trying to be better, and
It does free up
doesn't.
cap for them in the future. But like, you could have gotten a quality young player for Brandon Ingram, and you didn't.
Mhm. Yeah, and for Toronto, it makes you better now, but you're not playing for now.
The Toronto Raptors are currently 17-37.
That's pretty bad. Kyle, are you feeling pretty similarly about this one?
Not as like negative about it, I would say. I think that there is plenty of good for Toronto. Like we talked about, they have a pretty like okay young core. I think Brandon is coming in as a very solid veteran presence to guide them. If we compare the last kind of Toronto big trade that had a lot of moving pieces, which was Kawhi Leonard coming to them, it's definitely not going to have that same impact because unfortunately, I love Brandon Ingram and I love the player that he is. I don't think that he has that Kawhi level ability to elevate the team around him to a championship. But I still think that he's going to be a quality leader. He's going to kind of create a mold here for Toronto. As long as they can lock down Scotty Barnes, they can lock down RJ Barrett if he kind of sticks, or, you know, if he can elevate as well.
I believe
Like,
they have given Scotty Barnes a rookie max extension.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though.
I think they did. But again, he's going to be that unsung hero of the team. He's going to be able to guide them in the right direction. He's going to be able to show them what it means to be an NBA player because he's seen thick and thin. He was on the Lakers when they sucked before LeBron James. He was on the fucking Pelicans without AD. So he knows how to navigate in the NBA without this super megastar because he was kind of supposed to be one and maybe he didn't live up to those expectations. He has definitely grown since then. And I think that growth is what the Raptors are looking at and trying to apply that to their team. So I see a lot more positive for the Raptors. For the Pelicans, they just suck. Like there's the Zion experiment has failed, and that was the one thing that I wanted to see them do at the deadline was really just say, okay, it's done. Like Zion has played less games in the NBA than a majority of players that were drafted in his draft class, and even after his draft class. Like Anthony Edwards has played more games than him, and he was drafted 2 years later, maybe a year later.
1
I don't
year.
remember. 1 year.
1 year. 2019 versus 2020.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Zion has been in the league only 1 year less than Anthony Edwards has because he just hasn't played. So just with that, the Pelicans need to look in the mirror and say, okay, this failed. Like it's kind of a done deal. We need to start from square one. We need to find an actual superstar to lead this organization because that's when they have success. When they were
they still have a chance to do that in this year's draft.
Yes, and I agree.
Very strong draft class, and they are gonna have.
They're in the Cooper
likely
Flag
gonna have tight
sweepstakes.
odds for the highest pick.
Yes. I just don't think that with the high odds players that you want to go and get, that Zion is going to be a good complement. So that's where you can ship him out for something.
Well, yeah,
get some
but
value
Zion's not very ball dominant. He can definitely play the 2 option.
Yeah. I just remember his Duke days, and he was the number 1 option at Duke when he was playing there. That is the peak of Zion, and that's what you want to get from
Most players who get
him.
drafted are the number 1 on their college team.
Right.
Duke, let's be clear, that Duke was a different story because
that was a very stacked Duke team.
that was
Yes.
RJ Barrett, Zion, Ty,
Cam
or
Reddish.
Trey.
Yeah.
Is that Trey Jones? Yeah.
Cam
Yeah.
Reddish.
Cam Reddish.
Mhm.
That was even on that team, he was the guy.
Yeah.
I think that's the point Kyle is trying to make.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
I'm
like-
still
And-
saying I don't necessarily feel like they should move off of him. I would like to point out that Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson did only win 2 playoff games in their 5 or 6 year tenure together. But I still think Zion can be a solid second option for them, especially if they're going to be building around whatever player comes to them in the draft.
Yeah. I can respect that.
Mhm.
I just don't agree. I don't think that Zion is going to be a second option because I don't think he's even going to be an option. So I can understand where maybe the Pelicans are having a difficult time finding someone to take him and take a risk on him just because there hasn't been a lot of film on him in the NBA. I just the way that his career has gone so far, I'm inching very close to calling him a bust, just a pure flat out bust. And that's where I think
Made
the
an
Pelicans
all-star
need
team
to
already.
I don't
I
care.
believe 2. I'm not
Let
sure.
me finish.
Could just
Let me
be
finish
1.
my fucking take.
No,
Mom,
I
Dad,
think
stop
that
fighting.
this is why we're getting the
we're a
divorce.
married couple, so
No, we're
Yeah.
getting a
you
divorce
said I
after
can't
this.
get a divorce.
Not yet. Not till the end of the app.
So again, I think that this is where the Pelicans just need to cut their losses and say, okay, like we tried with Zion, it's not working for us or our franchise. We shouldn't be paying him the money that we are because I believe he also got that max contract, or I know he got an extension and it was a
Yeah, he got the
hefty
rookie
sum of money.
max.
Yeah, they have to cut their losses. They have to say this isn't working. Just kind of like what Brooklyn did with Ben Simmons. It's like, okay, this isn't working. Cut him. Like, just eat the losses. This isn't our year. We'll start from scratch. That's what the Pelicans should be doing. They shouldn't be holding on to this lump sum of money to take PTO every day. Because we say Embiid is a bum for missing games. We say that Anthony Davis is a bum for missing games, but they're actually playing games in the interim. Zion is barely playing anything. So just cut the losses. Say you're done, move on, get Cooper flag, start again. That's what I wanted the Pelicans to do. Obviously, they didn't do it. They have an opportunity to finish the season maybe on a better note with some more quality role players and maybe build a foundation going into next year of substance rather than just absolute dog shit. But I feel like there was more that the Pelicans could have done.
I think you saying Anthony Davis is a bum for missing games and comparing him to Joel Embiid is completely insane. Joel Embiid misses games because he wants to. Anthony Davis, sure, he gets hurt, and I think one of the biggest reasons why that was such a weird trade for Luka is because he is an injury-prone player. But he's still great, and he's just a little fragile. I mean, he played all 82 games last year, but...
Yeah, I think if you're looking at the one thing I don't agree, Kyle, 100% that it's like Zion will never be an option in the NBA. I mean, physically, I think he still is able to get the tools that he had. My question, especially for his stay in New Orleans, is I wonder if, and Kyle, what am I big on? What am I big on?
Right now.
First one in, last one out.
Yeah, scrappy white guys. No, I'm big on vibes. I'm big on vibes. I don't know if the relationship of Zion and this core around him and this organization is reconcilable. Not because it's like toxic and hostile. Like it's not the Jimmy in Miami situation. Zion's not forcing his way out. But it doesn't seem like Zion is enthusiastic with how he's being used right now. There was an interview, I believe it was recently, a clip from an interview where Zion got asked why he's not playing back-to-backs, because he's not playing back-to-backs. And he said in the interview, if I could play back-to-backs, I would, but I work for the New Orleans Pelicans, and they said I'm not playing back-to-backs, so I'm not playing back-to-backs. If I could, I would. That's not a thing a normal organization says. Like if your star is missing a back-to-back, you say he's got hip soreness or something. Like you don't just let your star go to the media and say, yeah, I really wanted to play, but the guys upstairs, they're making me sit this one out. That's like the dude at the bar who's like, I wanted to be here, but my wife is like, I got it. That's not a healthy relationship. I don't think Zion in this environment can become the Zion we saw at Duke.
Yeah, I mean, when he's playing this year, he's still averaging 24, 7, and 5. Those are great numbers.
Yes, but when he's not, like, can we all agree a player like Zion at Zion's age should be playing back-to-backs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think it's an organizational dysfunction with how the Pelicans see Zion and respect Zion that I don't think he's going to be able to be the Zion we all think he can be, because that's a respectable stat line. I think if Zion was, I think Zion could be better than that stat line if he reached his full potential. It's not a bad stat line, but
I don't think it's a question at all that the Pelicans are a dysfunctional franchise. I think they're the second least functional like front office as a whole behind Chicago.
yeah, I would like to see Zion off the Pelicans, but that's because I want to see Zion succeed, and I don't think he'll do it in New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean,
Pels.
but
yeah, but
I just don't agree with your reasons for wanting to get him off, Kyle.
I don't agree with you a lot. I think that I should just be the owner of the Pelicans. I'll do all their stuff. I'll steer the ship the right way. It'll all be great.
Look, I'd love to talk about Brandon Ingram until the cows come home, but we got to move on to this next trade because I need to gloat. God damn it, because I got it right. Another retrospective here. Jimmy Butler is a Golden State Warrior. Not only is Jimmy Butler a Golden State Warrior, he signed a contract extension the moment he got to Golden State, just like I said he would. I was right.
And it's just for the amount of time you said he would, too.
3 years. Or is it 2 or 3 year extension?
It was a 3-year extension,
Yeah,
so now
2-year
he's on a
extension,
3-year
3 years.
contract.
3-year
Counting this
core
year.
of Steph, Dre, and Clay for this season plus 2 more.
I didn't know Jimmy's
You
nickname
said
was Clay.
Or,
Yeah.
sorry.
Klay
I meant
Thompson is
Dre.
not on the Warriors.
I meant Dre.
You
Steph,
said
Dre.
Steph, Dre,
You
and
said
Dre.
Steph, Dre, and Dre.
Did I say Dre? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said Steph, Dre, and Clay.
Yeah, actually, they're just running back the old Warriors core. They're going to move Jimmy Butler for Klay Thompson 1-for-1.
Call me delusional, but I believe that Klay Thompson is on the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes.
Yeah. You're delusional.
Okay, got it.
But
And I hate you.
3-year core of Steph, Dre, and Jimmy. Like I said, I think this makes them fringe contenders. Because Jimmy Butler I think the core is just too much talent. Steph is Steph. I get he's having a down year, but I like this core too much to not win a playoff series. I'd take them over, maybe not Houston, but I'd take them over the Clippers. I think they'd give the Lakers a run for their money in a first-round series. And it's looking like in the future the Lakers are going to be pushing the 4 seed, maybe. Because like we said earlier, in the West, the top 3 seeds are locked up.
No, Rockets are falling off. Rockets are the 4 seed right now. Nuggets moved up to 3.
I forgot about that. So, Kyle, are you as high on this Golden State Warriors team as I am, or how are you feeling? All right.
I'm definitely not as high as you.
Well, I should have known that asking you about Jimmy Butler, but
Yeah, I hate that guy. Obviously, he does equate to some winning basketball. He's made it to the finals a couple times. And going to Golden State, which right now has this very, we talk about recency bias on here, and they have a pretty big pedigree of deep playoff runs. So I think if Jimmy gets there, he's definitely going to elevate them, and they have a shot. I just don't know if they're going to get there this year, because truly the Warriors are Steph, Dre, and Jimmy now. I think they have a couple other key, young guys like Pods is not living up to that right now. But like they have a couple other key guys in the rotation that are contributing to the basketball game. I just don't think that it's as strong of a team that you can create in the West, because the West just is so loaded with talent. So I see them like, we talk about the bubble here of like play-in teams of really like, and I even equate it to like the 6 seed, like anywhere from the 6 to the 10 seed is a fucking Wild West shootout. Like it could genuinely be any team, ranging from like the 4th seed to the 12th seed. Like any of those teams can end up in that fringe playoff spot. The Warriors, I see them coming out in there somewhere. I don't think that they're going to be, way up top next to like the 4 or the 5 seed. I think they're going to be kind of in that lower, 6, 7, 8, fighting for a chance. If they get that chance, I think that they can make it work and get deep. It's going to be tough.
all right, Cameron, I saw your response when I even said it in the first place. You're also not high on this Warriors team at all, I would assume?
Not at all. You said Steph is having a down year. Every single player on the Warriors who wasn't named Andrew Wiggins was having a down year. I think, Steph is still their best player. Wiggins was a clear number 2, arguably their best player, and they traded him away. he was good for them this season. You couldn't say that about him last season. He was great for them this season. And they traded him away for Jimmy Butler, who is a better player at his peak. But it's really just a two-man game. You guys keep saying Draymond. Draymond is not a basketball player anymore. Have you watched him play recently?
It's not fun.
He is awful. Their young guys are not doing anything. The cum bucket, he's not doing shit this year. Brandon Pajemski, discount Jack Harlow, isn't doing shit this year. Moses Moody, did he get traded? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he was in the trade now.
No, but they did trade Lindy Waters III away to the Detroit Pistons. What are you doing? Lindy Waters? If you don't know the name Lindy Waters III, you're not even a entry level basketball player. No, just kidding. I still think it's funny that Lindy Waters III is a Piston now. I think the ceiling for this Warriors team is the 9 seed. I don't see them doing anything higher than that. They have no bench production. Buddy Hield had a great start to the season. He fell off a cliff. He is shooting abysmally. I don't see how this Jimmy Butler trade really moves the needle because he's just a slightly better Andrew Wiggins.
Slightly better Andrew Wiggins.
Wiggins has been...
This season,
he is a slightly better Andrew Wiggins.
But
obviously he has that experience, but
I was
Wiggins
say,
did too.
If say they are the 9 seed, they win. Say they make it as the 8. Okay.
They make it as the 8. They are getting swept by the OKC Thunder.
Okay, fair point. But I just
make it as a 7.
I want you to.
I could see them getting a game or 2 on the Grizzlies.
I'd see them making it a 6-game series against the Grizzlies, at least. Here's why. Just because clearly this team still has maybe not this team, but this core still has the ability to win games. All it takes is you need Jesus to come down and bless the core.
Well, yeah, but that's not going to happen because Jesus isn't real.
They just did it against the Bucks.
Well, yeah, but the Bucks employ Kyle Kuzma and Giannis is hurt.
And Dame still put up 38 points, and Steph did as well.
Yeah,
they have
2 players on their team.
What I'm saying is they are to count this team out entirely and say they will not. I would say you think it's more likely that they get the 9 seed and lose in the play-in.
I think it is more likely that the San Antonio Spurs make the playoffs than the Warriors.
See, now San Antonio with De'Aaron Fox, yeah, but I think, like I said last episode, I'm high on San Antonio.
Yeah, I think so San Antonio, who are you taking out of the playoff bubble?
Let me pull it up right now, and I will tell you who I'm taking out of the playoff bubble. I don't
Maybe the Clippers? Maybe the Mavs?
The Clippers and the Mavs. I'd take both. Because it depends on how long AD is out. It depends on how long AD is out. I just don't believe in the Clippers. I never did, I never have, and I never will, because they are the Clippers. They are eternally cursed as an organization. Sacramento.
I would still take them over the Warriors. I would take Phoenix over the Warriors. I would take the Spurs over the Warriors.
I'd take the Spurs over the Warriors. I might take Phoenix over the Warriors. Maybe. I'd push the brakes on that, especially in a 7-game series. I trust the core of the Warriors in a high-stakes game more than I trust Kevin Durant in the playoffs. But we know my takes on that. I think this makes them a better team. And once they get into the playoffs, they are still the Warriors. The name is still on the jersey. They still got the bridge right there, and I can't discount that.
I am still taking the Clippers, Mavericks, arguably the Kings, the Suns, and the Spurs over the Warriors.
I get the Spurs. I get the Suns. I think the Kings could drop to the 13.
I was to say, the Kings' core right now is literally the Bulls. That's what we talked about last week.
Well, yeah, but they still have a little bit of bench depth. The Warriors have 0.
Yeah, I don't see the Kings producing a high-efficiency offense. I do see the Warriors producing a high-efficiency offense just because of the guy named Steph Curry. Again, maybe sandbagging us. Maybe he's plotting against us, and he's waiting to turn it on towards the end of the season. And then they're just going to go on this electric run after the All-Star break, because this, not that the games prior to this didn't matter, but this is really like, we only have about 30-ish games left, maybe a little less, in the NBA season. So this is really where it's going to matter. So that's where Steph turns up. That's where Jimmy turns up. That's what we just said last week. So
my official Bisportuals prediction: the Warriors are ending as the 9th seed, and they're not making out of the play-ins. Before we get off that trade, I just think the Heat. I love this trade for the Heat. I think they got a great package back for him.
Yeah, I agree. That makes them a top 5 contender in the East, which is not saying much, but because there's not a lot of competition in the East.
You're taking them over.
No, I am not taking them over the Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, or Bucks, who are currently the top 5 seeds.
I'm taking them over the Pacers.
Let's keep it moving. We got to talk about these. We got to talk about the Cavs. We have to talk about the Cavs. DeAndre Hunter is a Cleveland Cavalier. It's not like the Cavs really needed any help. They were the number 1 seed in the East. They will continue to be the number 1 seed in the East, but now they're better. Let's be clear. The Cavs won here. The Cavs the Cavs won here. So how does this look now for the Cavs, and how does it look for the future?
Before I get on to the Cavs, I think Atlanta actually got a pretty solid haul back for DeAndre Hunter. They got 2 quality role players in...
Niang.
They got 2 solid quality role players in Georges Niang and in Karis LeVert. They also got 2 first-round pick swaps in the following years and 3 second-round picks. I don't like this for Trae Young. I think Trae Young is gone after this season. But for the Cavs, they've kind of been playing 3 by committee, especially with Max Strus, with Georges Niang, with Karis LeVert. They haven't really had a solid starting 3, and now they do, and they've got a big one at that. This is a tall-ass team, long-ass team. I love this for them. I think this is one of the best starting 5s in the league. You could say that before, but I think definitively now I would put it top 3. They got the leading 6th man of the year candidate. Obviously, he's going to be starting for them. I believe that moves Peyton Pritchard and Malik Beasley up in the 6th man of the year odds. I don't really think the Cavs could have gotten a better player. I'm surprised Cam Johnson didn't get moved at the trade deadline. I think he could have fit really well for them in the same mold that DeAndre Hunter fits. But DeAndre Hunter is... I don't know, those 2 are kind of the same player. And I feel like the Brooklyn Nets would have wanted more for Cam Johnson. So, home run trade for the Cavs. They did have to give up 2 quality bench players, but I think if you can get DeAndre Hunter for that, you would do it.
Yeah, this is a win now scenario for Cleveland. They just absolutely went full steam ahead and set their eyes on Larry O'Brien. I think this is also a good trade for the Hawks. I talked about experiments earlier with players, and the Zion experiment, and I think Atlanta, kind of what Cam is saying, is maybe the Trae Young experiment isn't working. Obviously, he's led them to great success.
It
for
is
the
not
Hawks
Trae Young's
franchise
fault
standard
at all. It is the Hawks' fault for not putting any competent pieces around him. I mean, DeJounte Murray was a competent piece, but that.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you pair those 2 guards together?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. So I'm not saying that it's Trae Young's fault, but I'm just saying from a Hawks organizational standpoint, they've had Trae Young in this organization for a while, and they're trying to build around him. They're not working with it, so they're just going to say, you know what, Trae, find something else, and we're going to build around some other pieces. And now that they have a couple key young guys, they just had the. Did they get Risa Shea? Who was their guy, or was it Sarr?
Yeah, Sarr went to the Wizards. Risa Shea went first overall.
Yeah.
And he's been like a lot better than people were thinking he would be.
He's definitely turned it up as the season has gone on. So I'm thinking that they're seeing the future in that, and maybe Trae Young just isn't part of that picture. So I can respect this trade for the Hawks because it's going to deepen their draft pool. It's going to allow them to get better assets. And if they do end up trading Trae, maybe it's a sign and trade or something. They're still going to get a haul for it for a team that has the ability to trade for them. So I think this is just kind of one step in their pathway to getting back into East contention. I think the Hawks have more to do, to finish that out. But I think that this is a good start for them. Whereas the Cavs, this is win now.
This makes them, I mean, they're already the 1 seed, but I mean, everybody in the East, it's always been like there's that one Titan that everyone's got to go through. Of course, I'm talking about the New York Knicks. Fuck the Boston Celtics. But this definitely, I think when it comes playoff time, I think this team, I'd be surprised if they have a series go to 7. I mean, the top of the East
That's not
is
that crazy.
crazy. The top of the East is insane, but with this move, their guard play was already like, I'd take Mitchell and Garland as a duo against Brown and Tatum.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at number one options, D. Mitch, great number 1 option. Jaylen Brown, clearly the number 1 option.
No, you hate Tatum way too much. He's a good player.
I hate Tatum because it's fun.
Well, yeah.
I love the hate that Ryan has for Tatum.
It's funny, but
I like to joke that Jason Tatum is the 4th best player on the starting rotation. That's a lie. I think he's the 2nd best player on the starting rotation.
Agreed. You heard it here first.
Yeah, this just sets up this Cleveland team to if they weren't already the betting favorites to represent the East, I'm taking that futures bet. I think Boston will likely be their biggest challenge. I think the New York Knicks, there's always the Tibbs question.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Boston will be their biggest challenge. I'd take Cleveland in 6, but you never know. Playoff Boston is different. Playing at TD Garden, getting a bunch of racial slurs yelled at you because you are playing in Boston. We don't know how Cleveland will deal with that. So we'll see.
Yeah. All-time great coach, arguably the best coach of all time, Phil Jackson, said his test to see if a team is a real contender is if they can hit 40 wins before they hit 20 losses. The Cavs hit 40 wins before they hit 10 losses. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Thunder did too, but...
Looked like a clash of the Titans heading straight for the NBA Finals. Those were not the only deals made at the NBA trade deadline. I want to shout out the irony of poor Dennis Schroeder comparing the slave deadline, the slave deadline, the NBA trade deadline to modern slavery, to then get moved around 3 times within
18 hours.
18 hours.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's a tough fall of the cards for
He's
Dennis.
technically on his 5th team this season.
Yeah, that's just a rough one. That's a rough one. Kyle, do you have any moves you wanted to shout out?
I mean, it was the lack of a move, or the rescinded move of Dalton Connect and Mark Williams, because the Lakers were obviously looking for a center. And it seems like, again, the initial story was that the Hornets kind of misled the Lakers on the health conditions of Mark Williams. And once he got there, the doctors were like, what the fuck? And sent right back. Obviously, Charlotte is contesting it because they want Dalton Connect. And they want, they don't want to be stuck with Mark Williams, apparently. So I think that it's going to be an interesting saga to see play out. I think that at this point, after the trade deadline, they're probably not going to say, oh, yeah, you have to go through with it. You have to send them now, because that would set a very weird precedent for the NBA that I don't want to see set, because that I don't want to imagine the following trades that could be misconstrued and then contested. And then, again, we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting saga to follow here. So that's where I would shout out.
I wanted to shout out a couple moves by the Washington Wizards. What the fuck is going on over there? Why are you trading for 2 veterans in Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton, who do absolutely nothing for your team right now? I don't think they're going to be great mentors. Obviously, they do have experience. But, like, the young guys you want to develop are not playing their positions. Like, I don't... Especially the Marcus Smart trade. What did they get out of that?
I think like a firm handshake.
Yeah,
A high five.
So confused what's going on over there. I also did want to shout out again Lindy Waters to the Detroit Pistons.
And speaking of, elite players that we didn't think were going to be going anywhere, he's back in the lab, and the lab is in LA now. Ben Simmons is a Los Angeles Clipper. I think, I rescind everything I said earlier. I think Clippers 2 seed. Clippers 2 seed.
Oh, stop it.
Ben Simmons. Ben
Shit, I
Simmons.
also forgot the Warrior or the fucking Wizards sent out Valanciunas for basically nothing.
Oh yeah, scraps.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
The eternal,
Washington is
the eternal rebuild of the Washington Wizards. It is what it is, man. All right, we have one more topic, and this is a somber one. I think we all need to take a moment and a moment of silence for what was the Glenn Taylor tenure, as it is now fucking dead and in the ground.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
having a
Fuck
moment of
Glenn
silence for
Taylor.
that.
Fuck
Glenn Taylor.
I'm
I
so
interrupted
happy.
my
KG.
own moment of silence because I fucking hate Glenn Taylor.
KG finally getting that jersey retired. Hopefully
He will.
soon. I am so excited for that. So happy for him. Fuck Glenn Taylor. He's
We're
like,
getting the trees
the Wolves
back.
are finally doing good. Never mind. I don't want to sell the team anymore. No,
For
go-
those of you
go
that
fucking
missed,
fuck yourself.
the Wolves ownership situation was in arbitration for the last like half a year, basically.
Yeah.
Because Glenn Taylor had agreed to sell the team to Mark Lore,
Alex
Rodriguez, and an ownership group around them. Glenn Taylor believed that they did not meet the deadline to produce funding. Of course, Mark Lore and A-Rod believed they did.
Yeah, they said they had the money like set in an offshore bank account, like just cash waiting there for Glenn Taylor to sign the paper, and Glenn never did.
So it went to arbitration. That ruling came out, as of recording, 2 days ago. Or 3 days ago? 2 or 3
Yesterday.
days ago.
It was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? Well, it's Wednesday
Yeah,
now.
today is Tuesday.
It's Wednesday now.
Fuck your
for
Eastern
me.
time zone.
Uh,
Not real. Your
but
clock's broken.
the arbitration, I believe it was 2 of the 3 arbitration lawyers ruled in favor of A-Rod and Mark Lore, confirming the sale. All it needs to do now is get approved by the NBA NBA Board of Owners, which
It should. There's no reason why.
Lore and A-Rod have been doing schmoozing with the owners for a year now, so they've already got the in. Glenn Taylor's tenure as the tyrant of the Minnesota Timberwolves is done.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Let's just
I
bask
cried.
in the glory.
I cried tears of joy. It was fantastic seeing that come out and seeing all the memes on top of it. It's been a great time to be on Wolves Twitter. And
What's Twitter?
I'm excited.
Do you mean X, the everything app?
Oh,
No.
actually, everything up that will soon have banking because Elon is getting rid of the organization that would.
We can't run this
The
Govern
bit.
that?
Consumer Financial Protection Bureau?
Yeah.
X.com,
we-
the everything app. Yeah.
We can't
Everything.
run this bit again. We've done this before.
Too late.
I'm gonna call it
What the
Twitter
fuck is-
until the day I die. So it's
Well, I hope
again,
you die soon then because it's X the everything. app.
It's fucking Valentine's Day, Cameron.
yeah.
I
come on,
hate
be
my
nice.
bitch wife.
Cameron's the kind of dude
God.
to have the shirt of if you can read this, the bitch fell off.
Yeah.
That's what Cameron would be wearing.
Ugh.
Sure.
So hopefully we get our trees back. If Kevin Garnett gets his jersey retired this year, I don't care what it costs to go to that game. I will be there. It's gonna be fantastic. Future's looking bright for the Wolves, especially with this. The only problem is going to be the second apron. And obviously, people are concerned about A-Rod and Laura moving the team. There's absolutely no way they move it. It's part of their contract.
No.
They can't move it. I hope that with this wholesale that we see, maybe some more fire from our team on the ownership side of it, getting after these bigger names in free agency. Not that we weren't before, but it definitely didn't seem like Glenn Taylor gave a shit about the basketball team other than sitting courtside and pretending like he gave a shit. Where it definitely seems like A-Rod and Laura care. They want the team to be here. They want the team to be successful. So I think we're going in the right direction.
Agree.
I think if you look at successful ownership recently, I know the Phoenix Suns basically have no future, but Matt Ishbia, he's been a real changer for them ever since he stepped in as owner for the team, especially from a fan perspective, making the concessions cheap, trading for Kevin Durant. He has done a lot of good for that team, and Glenn Taylor, money hungry bitch. I am hoping A-Rod and Mark Lore look at what Matt Ishbia, especially with the concessions, did, and they're willing to do that to Minnesota because I don't have the money to pay for $12 beers and $8 hot dogs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it can all be summed up in fuck Glenn Taylor.
Fuck that bitch.
Fuck Lynn
Fuck
Is it
Taylor.
okay? Is it okay to call him a bitch?
Yeah, he's a bitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with that, ending on such a joyous note, we go into our final segment. The one, the only. It wouldn't be an episode of Bisportuals without it. It's Cameron Gertenson's Album of the Week. Cameron, what do you have for us this week?
Not my album of the week. Just wanted to say happy V-Day. V standing for venturing, ghost holding by venturing. Out now if you're watching this day of recording. I have not been this excited for an album since Call Me If You Get Lost. I'm really looking forward to this album, and it is out now if you're watching this on release day. Happy V-Day, V standing for venturing. So, Super Bowl halftime performance. We all saw it. We all loved it. Kendrick had sort of a video game motif going on with that. It had like start. He had different shapes going on in the.
He had the PlayStation button.
Yeah, there was
and it
a
ended.
big X. It said game over at the very end. So I wanted to shout out the best video game soundtrack ever made. You might think, oh, it's Minecraft, it's Undertale, it's fucking Ocarina of Time. No, it is objectively the Risk of Rain 2 soundtrack by Chris Christodoulou. Fuck, it is so good. Have you ever seen a video game soundtrack that has both trip hop, post rock, and fucking anything in between? It is so good. He's got these wailing guitars that have sort of distortion that makes it sound like they're glitching. Every stage in the game, for those of you who don't know, Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike. It's got 5 different stages before you get to the final boss. Each stage has 3 different options of maps that it can be, and each map has a different song. There is not a bad song on here. I listen to this while I'm doing homework. I listen to this while I'm driving. I listen to this at work. It is just fucking awesome. Chris Christodoulou is a Greek composer. These are his biggest pieces of work, but he's also done work for other games, some movies and TV shows as well. It's just so cool. His wailing guitar is fucking awesome. His drums are heavy. He has just such a unique style of composing because it's not like he's just playing the instruments. It sounds like he has a whole orchestra of he has a rock band orchestra. It's just so cool. I wanted to shout out some of the track titles as well. You've got Coppin' as Fuck. Not sure what Coppin' means. That's a really good song. You've got Nocturnal Emission, which is another name for Wet Dreams. The Dehydration of Risk of Rain 2. A Glacier Eventually Farts, and You Don't Listen to the Song of Life. Great song name. You've got The Rain, formerly known as Purple, which is a reference to Prince. You're Gonna Need a Bigger Ukulele is the name of the final boss fight song. Awesome song. And I wanted to shout out my probably favorite song on the soundtrack, Antarctic Oscillation. That is just so cool. I know Ryan definitely has some opinions about the soundtrack.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, as the person who introduced both of you to this game,
Yes.
this soundtrack holds a deep place in my heart. Specifically one track. I want to shout out one track that I listen to possibly daily. The soundtrack that opens the final stage, Con Lentitud Ponderosa.
You're on the fucking moon.
There is people talk about the biggest drops in music. Often gets brought up something like Father Struck My Hands Part 1, Skrillex. Con Lentitud Ponderosa has the hardest fucking drop known to man. That shit
crazy
bangs. Good. And it's a beautiful melody beforehand, then interpolated into basically a different genre. It's fucking perfect. It covers all the moods. It is a perfect track.
The build up in that song is so good.
Yeah, I can't get enough of Chris and his music. Great pick.
Yeah, as the guy that died first in basically all of our runs in this game and actually had a chance to really enjoy the music without focusing on the game, fantastic soundtrack. Everything about it just rules. Like truly, like every second of music was particularly very detail oriented. Chris truly cared about every second on this soundtrack, and it shows. It is just beautiful. Cam says he listens to it everywhere. You can listen to this in the gym and have a great session.
Yeah.
Like this album just kicks ass.
Literally, if you're doing something where you're busy, where your hands are moving, put this on shuffle in the background or something. You will find something that just has you like, wow.
Mm-hmm. There's something for everyone here.
Yes.
Absolutely. And with that, thank you all very much for taking the time out of if you're listening this on release day, out of your Valentine's Day. I hope you all have a wonderful Valentine's Day. If you're not listening to this on release, I hope you all have a wonderful day that is not Valentine's Day. But thank you for taking the time listening with us. We appreciate it. We appreciate taking the time out of your day. So with that, thanks again, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.